Hello, I'm Tony Vlahos for ExecuNet. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I think it was President Eisenhower who said that the supreme quality for leadership is unquestionable integrity. Without it, no real success is possible. Well, time has not diminished the importance of integrity as a leadership trait. And my guest today totally understands what this means. Kelley Kosow is the author of The Integrity Advantage, which was released in November 2017. She's a motivational speaker, a master life coach, and CEO of the acclaimed Ford Institute. Kelley, it's a joy to be speaking with you today.
It's a joy to be here. Thank you.
Terrific. So, of course, many of us know the dictionary definition of integrity. Ideas like honesty and moral principles leap to mind. How do you define it?
I define so originally I thought that was integrity, just this moral code or being honest. And then I realized another because I teach shadow work at the Ford Institute. We're known for being experts at the shadow. And the shadow is about wholeness. So we're always talking about wholeness and owning all the parts of yourself. So, if you own the totality of who you are, hopefully you can be fully expressed and what is inside, so is the outside will be a reflection of your outer world. So owning all of who you are, you can manifest all your desires. So when I looked at the dictionary, actually a student came in one day and said to me, you know what, I was looking up the definition of integrity and it means wholeness. And all of a sudden it was like light bulbs went off. But I realized that for me, integrity is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. And it is, so my definition has three parts. It's owning all of who you are, which is the wholeness component, and living in alignment with your deepest truths and your grandest desires.
Hmm.
Because if you're not living in your deepest truths and grandest desires, you're out of integrity. And then you're going to start judging and blaming and resenting. And it's a very dark hole.
Hmm. And it's quite a more robust definition than my dictionary definition. I'm glad you shared that. So if we talk to workers, they would tell us that integrity is certainly a key attribute, if not the greatest attribute for their leaders. Now, most leaders and companies would say, well, I value integrity. What would you
Right.
like leaders to realize about integrity?
That it is a way of life and it's just not the talk. You feel it when someone is walking the walk. You feel it when someone is owning their wholeness and being able to speak their truth. The whole culture of a corporation will change when you have a person of integrity at the helm who is, because when you own all of your stuff, you're not judging, because what we judge in others is what we judge in ourselves. So
Hmm.
just by owning our wholeness, if I see in you laziness, I can understand that because I own where I can be lazy and I can find the gifts of lazy. And so I think that a leader of integrity who's not just talking it, but living, who is thinking, who do I want to be in this moment? What kind of culture do I want to create? And how am I being that instead of doing that
Hmm.
is huge. And
Of course.
creating the structures inside the culture to support that vibration. I know a lot of these new cultures, yeah, they have a ping pong table and they have lunch delivered, and that's all wonderful. And that might all create some connection. But you need more than that, because if people aren't being honest, if people aren't aligning with a vision, then it's kind of
Mm.
for naught.
So
The
let's
sum is, go ahead.
I'm sorry, let's talk about some practical ways that leaders can develop and display integrity. Not the ping pong table way, but the true way.
Well, I think A is looking, I think leaders have to do their own work. I think that's the huge thing in the leader of today, that they have to, their vibration, their consciousness is going to emanate in the culture. I mean, anything is a reflection of self. And when you're at that leader, your wounds, your fears, your, anything that's unhealed in you is going to show up. It's just like in all of our relationships. So I think leaders have to do their own work. They have to understand their fears. They have to understand their wounds. They have to understand their sensitivities, because the stuff that triggers them, if you're in fear, if you have a fear-based, you don't want to rule in a fear-based community. You don't want to rule by threatening. You don't want to rule. You want to invite conversation. If you can value yourself, you can value other people. If you can stand in the possibility for yourself, you can stand in the possibility for others. So I think it's always connecting people to the vision, and also going and having conversations in the workplace that are honest, that are what's working, what could we be doing differently, inviting people to stand in the collective and be responsible for the collective, and invite that kind of participation.
That's a lovely, wise answer. Thank you, Kelley. Let's talk about integrity, please, in the context of the Time's Up movement. For anyone who's watching and isn't familiar with it, of course, this is a movement started by women in the entertainment industry who are committed to supporting women everywhere and acknowledging that the clock is running out on sexual assault and harassment and inequality in the workplace. Many senior level executives watching our talk are wondering, well, how do I start? What can I do to make a difference? And in that spirit, let's talk about how integrity can help them move forward.
Well, and I think it's great. Anyone who's looking at what can I do, that's terrific, because I think everything, when you live in integrity, you're living, in relationship to other things. So you're looking at whatever's going on in the universe or the culture right now as a reflection. And obviously, it's a very chaotic time right now. There's a lot bubbling up to the surface. All the quote unquote secrets are coming up. And, Jimmy Kimmel said a few months ago, like, it feels like someone opened the door to hell or something like that. And it does. But we never want to be the victim of our circumstances. Instead of, we want to use it, because if it's happening it's happening all over, then obviously it's something we all need to look at. And so getting that everything that is bubbling up to be re-examined, and whatever needs to be released or replaced with something that is more fitting. So I think it's time for people to look at what in your culture is not working. I say on a personal level, and I think, our individual lives and what's going on, the collective, it's very similar. I mean, at some point, we all get to a point in our life where something isn't working, and we get to the point of enough is enough. I can no longer stay quiet. I can no longer pretend it's okay. And that's what we're seeing in the Me Too movement. We can no longer pretend that it's okay, or the unacceptable is acceptable. So I think it's taking a look at your company and saying, what is working? What isn't? What are the inconvenient truths that we're trying to hide behind the closet because the bottom line is going up? And knowing and really getting the feedback of that. Where are we out of alignment with what we say is our mission statement? And so I think to take that honest look at what is working, what is not, and most importantly, those things like that you're just not going to accept anymore. It's not okay. It's not okay for people to punch in, 5 minutes or 10 minutes late all the time. It's not okay for whatever it is, for, a leader to go do this or that. What's not okay anymore? Because it's just so out of alignment with who we say we want to be.
Very well said. Talk to me, please, Kelley, about the inspiration for your book, The Integrity Advantage. What prompted you? Was there a personal life moment, a professional experience, something that triggered you to finally say, you know what, I need to put this down and publish a book?
Well, I think there were two things. I think that, one was in my own life, I've always, food has always been my drug of choice. And so I always, had, emotional eating issues. And when I got divorced, and all of a sudden, like many people, you get divorced and all of a sudden you look better and you lose weight and this and that. And everyone was saying, oh my gosh, you look so great. And I thought my first book idea was I'm going to write the divorce diet because like all of a sudden, and then I realized, years later, because my binge behavior had gone away and all this other stuff. But then all of a sudden, one day it came back again. And I was like, what the hell is what is going on? I haven't acted this way in 5 years. Like I thought it was over. I thought I had fixed it because I'm a perfectionist and I like to fix things. And I realized it wasn't my divorce that made me look better. It was being out of integrity that made me self-sabotage. And I realized the connection between integrity, self-worth, and self-sabotage. When we are out of integrity, we don't feel good about ourselves. And self-worth and deserving is a huge thing. And so when you're out of integrity, you don't feel like you are worthy of having your dreams and having all the good stuff. So you will self-sabotage because the number one belief that plays in all of our minds, and it might be our unconscious mind, is I'm not good enough. So every time we're out of integrity and self-sabotage, we reinforce that belief, I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving enough. And then our self-worth plummets, and because we feel bad about ourselves, we say, what do I care? So I'll go eat the bag of cookies or whatever the hell it is. Sorry. I swear. And then again, it's a spiral down. Out of integrity creates lower self-worth, creates more self-sabotage, creates less self-love, which creates less being in integrity, and it's just a downward spiral. On the other hand, if you claim your integrity and if you start cleaning out your incompletions and clearing up the past and working on yourself and getting rid of all those things that feel like little holes in your soul, and you start owning back, all of a sudden your self-worth starts to plummet when you start treating yourself a certain way. And then your worthiness goes up. And then it doesn't feel good to do anything that isn't in your highest or doesn't feel congruent with the vibration you're now on. And so you're going to make healthier choices for yourself, which is going to increase your self-love, which is going to make you want to be more in integrity and the self-worth. And so it becomes this shooting star. And then all of a sudden, because you feel so clean inside that there are no blockages to manifestation. And you can be fully expressed because you're okay with who you are. There's none of these out of integrities lurking in your closet. And so I just realized this is amazing. Like, if any lifestyle, this is the best lifestyle, quote unquote, diet I've ever been on. Mm-hmm. And it starts by taking that U-turn back to yourself and saying, what's right for me in this moment? I was the ultimate perfectionist, trying to do what out there they regarded as perfect. Mm-hmm. And in the book, I say I'm shooting on myself. Because at the end of the day, I just kept I was on that gerbil wheel and I couldn't get off it, even if my body was like aching and this and that. And so those were just this concept of integrity as a way of life. It's not something I do this week because my finances are out of whack. Mm-hmm. It is the way I should be living so I can feel clean and worthy of manifesting.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, Kelley, who you'd like to reach and transform with your book and, of course, your work through the Ford Institute. In particular, are there senior level executives who I imagine are going through many personal experiences as well as daily work life experiences who could benefit from this? Talk to me, please, about how you'd like to shape them in their lives.
Well, I mean, obviously, we would love to reach the people where the ripple effect is even bigger. So, you can talk to one person or you can talk to someone who's, has a culture that they're impacting. So, we would love for to talk to, I would love to get into a corporation. I would love to create an environment where they're fostering wholeness, where they're embracing their humanity instead of, trying to be, what they think they should be, where people feel that they are valued, and especially the leaders, because when you truly live in integrity, you are living in the possibilities of life. And when you own your wholeness, you own the wholeness of others. When you live in the possibilities of your life, you hold that for others. So when you have a whole and healed, conscious leader, they stand in others for what they stand in for themselves. And that's an environment where that inspires profitability and, just the economy of consciousness would be amazing.
It's a wonderful vision. It's terrific advice. Kelley, thank you so much for making time to talk to me today. The book, of course, is The Integrity Advantage, available where fine books are sold. And I look forward to learning more about the impact that it's having on people, especially the members of ExecuNet who are at the senior level of their companies. And as you said, hold so many other lives in their hands. So I look forward to experiencing that through their eyes as we learn more about their reaction to the book. So thanks again. I wish you a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye for now.